Revelation 2052. From the 31st of August 1941. Belief, unbelief. Mind, knowledge. The independence of human thinking is to be appreciated where it concerns earthly questions and their answers, but the greatest danger is where spiritual problems are to be solved. Man strives to prove the correctness of his thinking, and he will also succeed in purely earthly results of his thinking. But spiritual things cannot be proven, consequently nothing can ever be declared right or wrong intellectually as far as spiritual questions are concerned. The versatility of earthly conception requires proof of that which is established as doctrine. Spiritual knowledge, however, cannot be forced into a fixed doctrine, because proofs cannot be produced. But just as one cannot prove the truth of what has been gained as spiritual thought, so one cannot prove the untruth of it either, for even the highly developed intellect cannot penetrate an area which remains closed to it as long as it does not make use of spiritual strength to do so. One will only ever be able to speak of faith. Faith, however, is a matter of the heart, not of the intellect. On the path of faith man attains knowledge which he can never acquire intellectually. But it is not possible to prove this knowledge, nor can the untruth of what he believes he knows be proven to him. And since no proofs can be produced, it must also be left to the fellow human being to appropriate the knowledge of the believing human being. The acceptance of this wisdom is a matter of free will. On the other hand, however, the fellow human being also does not have the right to portray him as a fantasist or liar, for he cannot provide any evidence for this either, and his intellectual thinking, no matter how sharp and clear, is inadequate in the face of spiritual truths. The believing person accepts these, the unbeliever refuses. The believer has traveled a path which the unbeliever can also follow if he wants to. But then he must gather the same knowledge, and only then can he convince himself of the truth of what he previously rejected. Faith or unbelief determines the degree of knowledge or complete ignorance. But where faith is lacking, even the sharpest reasoning is of no use, it leads astray. Human wisdom investigates earthly problems and yet does not penetrate the realms that lie apart from the earthly. Deep faith, however, lifts the veil of the hidden and reveals the deepest secrets to man. And even if nothing can be proven, the likewise believer will unconditionally accept as truth what is imparted to him from the side of faith. The same knowledge will be made accessible to him, he will represent with delightful certainty what he recognizes as truth, and intellectual wisdom will not be able to convince him of the opposite, because his heart will give him the confirmation that he is thinking correctly. Hence truth can only be imparted to fellow human beings, yet in order to be able to accept it as truth they must also shape themselves into a believing, truth-seeking person. Only then will they recognize the value of what is offered to them, and then they will also not allow themselves to be distracted if the truth is intellectually refuted and presented to them as untruth or doubted. Therefore, purely intellectual impressions should not be evaluated, but the feelings of the heart should be taken into account, for these are more credible than earthly acquired wisdom. Amen.